Was the lowest level you can beat Pokemon Red and Blue using a Cloyster. We are on to Loreley. Just a heads up, this one's pretty long, so if you want to skip, go for it. I'm going to explain it, and then I'll let you know when I go into rant, so you can skip. So Cloyster's move pool is not very good against Loreley, because we really only have normal ice and water moves, which none do too great of damage. And Cloyster's special stat is alright at best. What is kind of annoying is, so the Dugong goes for Growl, which basically makes Tri-Attack useless after like 2 of them. So it's kind of, do I set up the withdrawal here, go for some badge boost, or do I try to take out the Dugong quick with Tri-Attack before it knocks me out? So kind of depending on what the Dugong decided to do. But as you see here, every time I would get the Dugong to low enough health, it would rest. So I had to get lucky that once it got at low enough health, it wouldn't use rest. It would use something else. Looking back on it, I don't even know if I should have used Tri-Attack. I probably should have taught like Rest or Substitute or something different, maybe even Reflect. But I wasn't really sure what I was going to want later on in the run. Never noticed this. Side note, that Cloyster is sideways. That's fun. Because once you get to the end of the run, you don't know if you're going to want to save something for later, like a different move. So basically, once you get past the Dugong, it's just a matter of taking stuff out. PP was a big challenge in this one. I think that's part of the reason why I didn't teach Reflect or Rest or anything, was because I would run out of power points often. If you notice my withdrawal in the beginning, it only had 6 PP. That's because I went to Victory Road to get rid of a bunch, because then I could at least use Struggle if I had to. And another thing to note is, if you're using the same type move as the Pokemon, you cannot status them. So like if I use Ice Beam on the Dugong, I can't freeze it. If you were to use Thunderbolt on a Raichu, you couldn't paralyze it. But if you use Body Slam on a Raichu, you could paralyze it. So that's a Gen 1 mechanic that they fixed later on. So at this point, it's basically taking out her Pokemon. Go for a Tri-Attack, didn't do anything. So we're just going to stick to the special moves unless, if we can get a critical hit on the Tri-Attack, it's good to go because it's going to override the Growls, but we're just going to save that for when we have to have it happen. Okay, so here's the rant. Lapras was the worst thing I've ever done in my life. This was awful because I would get confused and paralyzed, and I got here so many times, and it was just not fun for me. But anyway, so I guess the reason why I started doing these challenges is I would see people on the internet do like solo runs, and sometimes I felt like they leveled up past their problems, which makes sense though. I mean, if you do the whole run, which I don't do, I just do the Elite Four. I mean, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of time. So like, I definitely understand not every single one can you find the best or edgy for. So like, no hate. They're doing something different than me anyway, so it's not like really comparable. But why I say that is it made me curious as to like, what is the lowest level you could get through some of these? And then so when I say world record, like in the beginning, I'm not saying it was clickbait, but it was almost like, world record. But as I look on the internet, I can't find anyone that beats these at a lower level than me. Or at least if they have, they didn't document it or record it. So as far as I'm concerned, a lot of these are world records. Now I would love to watch somebody on YouTube try to beat them. That'd be great. So if we win with Cloyster, that will be 21 world records I have, and then there's 3 failures. There's 3 Pokemon that I've done that I have not been able to beat documented victories with. But anyway, I really do appreciate all the support. I think you guys may underestimate the amount of appreciation that small content creators get when you just even leave an emoji. The comment sections I have where people get into it about stuff always get way more views, always more liked, and therefore more followers. Obviously, I don't want to create content that causes drama in the comment section, but just dropping an emoji on, not even mine, but like other small content creators, they really appreciate it. So you don't have to donate money, you don't have to share, you don't have to tell your friend about it. But just dropping a random emoji just helps with the algorithm. So that's just something you can do if you ever wanted to help out people that you like. But after this long-winded thing, the question I ask you is, what is the lowest level you can beat Pokemon Red and Blue using a Cloyster? We are on to Bruno. Traditional Bruno set, except we already have withdrawal, so we don't need to mimic Harden. If you look at Cloyster's defense, it is phenomenal. HP is not good, attack is fine. Its special is medium. Not very good though, not very good at all. In Gen 1, special is just 1 stat. Remember, its speed is not very good either, but it's a clam, so it makes sense. Move pool, ice, normal, water. I mean, ice in Gen 1 is great. has a move that gives us badge boost, so we don't need to mimic it. So pretty happy with this move pool, I'd say. So once we get the withdrawals up, Hitmonchan's Thunder Punch is pretty much the only thing that we're concerned about at that point, and that did not hit us because we were able to take it out with our boosted speed and special from all of our withdrawing. Bruno was not a big concern on this one. We have level 45, which is pretty good. Pretty good, right? So if we can keep this all the way through, Cloyster is going to be doing really well, but we're never really sure if Agatha is going to make us struggle. I don't believe Lance is going to be too big of a struggle, and then Blue may or may not be a challenge. We'll have to see what happens when we get to him. But lucky for us, we have one unfortunate thing is you can't get rid of Surf, so we only have 3 moves to mess around with, which kind of stinks. But the question I ask you is, what's the lowest level you can beat Pokemon Red and Blue using a Cloyster? We are on to Agatha. So in this run, basically what we wanted to do was to try to freeze something and then use a bunch of withdrawals. Now the withdrawal is not going to help our defense too much because the main thing we are concerned about is Nightshade. But if you will notice, I did Rare Candy right before, so we shouldn't level up. And that way we are going to be able to do more damage and potentially outspeed. So once we see that freeze, we're free to go. Remember in Gen 1, once you are frozen, you cannot become unfrozen unless you are hit with a fire type move. And I am not even kidding, that is real. Or I suppose a full restore would also do that. But unless Agatha decides to switch out, I'm pretty much free to go. So I'm just upping my withdrawals here. It's about a 10% chance to freeze. So we just kind of reset till we get it. Once we get that going, it's not necessarily free just because of the nature of Agatha, but it makes things so much easier. We don't need to mimic Nightshade or anything, so we don't need to get to a grotesquely high level. We can just go ahead and start knocking out her Pokemon. We have super effective against the Golbat. Arbok really can't do anything to us because it is all physical moves. So then once we get rid of this Gengar, we're just looking to get rid of the other Haunter and Gengar, and then we are free. So with that down and us in a good position to beat Agatha, out comes the Golbat. We're going to go for Ice Beam. Ice Beam is going to be a one-hit KO, so that is nice to see. And then we have the Haunter. So basically just remember, Agatha, all we want to do is minimize her opportunity to use her cheeky little moves on us. So the least amount of time she can put us to sleep, the least amount of time she can use Confuse Ray, the better it's going to be for us. Because as you see, she uses her moves completely at random. So sometimes she will use Dream Eater when you're not even asleep. So we're hoping for more of those and less Confuse Ray. Again, the Arbok is nothing to be concerned about. And what's nice on this is all of our Ice Beams have a chance to freeze. So if we freeze anything, I mean, we freeze this Gengar at the end, it'd be just totally free, which would be nice. And we have enough PP to take care of it. So we go ahead, we go for Ice Beam, does about half. It goes for Nightshade, which is fine because it's going to do 60, so we'll be left with 18. And then we're going to go for an Ice Beam. It looks like it was just over half, so we hope, and it did not, but we got lucky. A nice little retroactive Super Potion, which is going to put us in a position to go ahead and Ice Beam for the win. So even with all that great setup, it still came down to the wire. So that is Agatha for you. So the question I ask you is, what's the lowest level you can beat Pokemon Red and Blue using a Cloyster? We are on to Lance. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is we want to set up withdrawal. We want to do that not only so it makes us faster with the badge boost, but it effectively makes Hyper Beam, Slam, Takedown, Bite, all pretty much useless because I have great defense and then I'm buffing my defense and now there's not a whole lot Lance can do to us. If you notice my move pool, I now know Rest. That is because the Gyarados is going to do some damage to me. We really don't want to see Dragon Rage. We really don't want to see Hydro Pump because those are going to both do a lot of damage, comparatively so. Dragon Rage bypasses my withdrawal buff. Or Crit Hyper Beam's not good either. Anyway, once we get all those set up, we are going to be able to take down the Gyarados, and then we can just rest on the Dragon Air while it can't really do a whole lot to us. Now remember, critical hits, anytime you get a critical hit, it's going to ignore any stat changes. So if I have 6 withdrawals, they hit me with a critical, it's going to act like I have no withdrawals. So there is always an opportunity for that to happen. Now here's something that's kind of fun. So if I use 6 withdrawals, as you know, I would have 6 stacks of the badge boost. But as you saw there, the Gyarados used 2 Leers. So that brings me down 2. So now I have 8 stacks of the badge boost. And then that lets me use withdrawal 2 more times. So then I would actually have 10 stacks of the badge boost if I decided to max out on that. Which, you know, until you level up, turns you into a pretty crazy powerful. Because it boosts all stats. So anyway, the strategy is at this point, get withdrawals off, use rest, get health. When the Dragonair does something kind of crazy like that, we might end up going for rest more than one time. But Ice Beam is going to pretty much make work of the rest of the team here, so there's not a whole lot going on that's crazy. It's not free by any means. Remember, I show you guys the ones that I win, the ones that I do well in. There are plenty that go poorly. So even though it may look like it's easy, I mean, it's not that you guys couldn't do it. I mean, I'm just pressing buttons. It's not like this is rocket science or anything. But it doesn't go as quick as it may look on here. So we are level 47. That's a real low level. We're beating on a bunch of dragons, so we're doing pretty good here. But it's kind of the same old into it. So I guess you can click off the video or go to listen to the rant, I suppose. I watch on YouTube, J-Rose11 on YouTube. He is like probably the best one I've ever seen. He's so smart, and he really describes way in a good kind of dry humor, funny way. But he does these really good solo runs where he goes through the whole thing. So if you like my content, you'll love his. I mean, he's pretty well known, so you probably know him, but... And then some of the technical stuff, I don't watch him a whole lot, but I have watched his videos in the past, is Gunner Maniac. He was responsible for world record speed runs. So he really breaks down the mechanics of the game of like what everything is. So there's a fair bit of good knowledge to gain from that. If you're looking to like, oh, how do you know all this stuff? It's pretty much because I've watched those two on YouTube, and they've taught me everything that I know here. But like I said, I don't really watch Gunner Maniac personally right now, but I definitely watch J-Rose, and whenever he drops a video, I'm pretty excited for that. So there you go. That was Lance, a clam beating on some dragons. So the question I ask you is, was low self can beat Pokemon Red and Blue using a Cloyster? We are on to Blue. So the strategy coming into this is basically just use withdrawal. The Pidgeot can't do a whole lot to us, so we're just going to use withdrawal until it decides it wants to go for Sky Attack. Not that Sky Attack's going to do a whole lot, but it's just kind of when we want to move on. We want enough badge boost to where we can knock out the Alakazam. The Alakazam's not too troublesome. However, it is quite the cannon, so we do just want to watch out for that and not let it do too much. It did end a fair amount of these runs. But once it's charging up for Sky Attack, we go ahead, we hit the Ice Beam, and we want to take care of that Alakazam. You will notice my move pool, I have Mimic in it. I did try mimicking a fair amount of other moves to get to the end of this. There was one kind of fun strategy you'll see how my experience points are. Once I get to Blastoise, I turn to level 50, and I learned Spike Cannon, and then you would be able to use Spike Cannon instead of Mimic to knock out the Blastoise. And I was really close on that one, but I got a lucky critical hit, so then I tried a different strategy, and this one worked better. So the Rhydon's probably the worst in the game, so we're going to use that opportunity to grab its Horn Drill from him. You know, once you get past, I mean, really the Alakazam and Blastoise are the only two things in here that you even need to worry about, because we have such high defense, and Ember doesn't do much to us. So these Pokemon are pretty free. I don't have a really great way to heal, which isn't fun because I don't have rest and I don't have recover, but we're just going to keep going for it. You will notice I get a freeze on this Executor, which is nice because I do have one more withdrawal I can go for, and since I have leveled up, I was thinking, well, maybe I could get a little extra speed here, but I couldn't remember how many I used in the beginning, so that's why I went for 2 there. And then I go ahead and knock out that Executor, and then I level up, so that speed didn't matter, but at least Bite won't do so much to me. So I end up not learning Spike Cannon because I didn't need it this time because I had Horn Drill. So then I just go for Horn Drill. The Blastoise takes a really long time to take me out, so I have plenty of time. If you do notice the PP on Horn Drill, there was, I think, 9. There we go. That's a victory. That's a world record. So the question I ask you is,